show. It is Daniel Workman coming to you live from the Dream Imaginate Sports Studios. It is 8 a.m. on the East Coast. This is your 5 a.m. super early morning wake-up call. And for all of us in all time zones in between and around the world, thanks for tuning in on this Thursday morning. Really appreciate all of the views, all of the support, all the comments and feedback, etc. Thank you, thank you, thank you. As this show continues to grow, continue to reach, continue to discuss topics that are pertinent, relevant to American soccer and quite frankly, global soccer, as we look at the game from all levels through a lens that is focused on the essence of the game. And that's really what I want to start off today's show with, is the essence of the game. What makes the game great? What makes it connect with audiences around the world, that makes this the world's sport? What connects the dots for people? Is it superstars? American sports have superstars, but not all of them have stardom beyond the borders of America. What makes football, soccer, such an important piece of the fabric of culture and in sport in countries around the world? Why is it the world's sport? I would argue that the essence of the sport is its interconnectivity. In other words, clubs, players, coaches, scouts, everyone in systems around the world and countries around the world are connected. There are incentives for innovation. You get rewarded for good work. Do clubs fail? Do organizations get run poorly and suffer the consequences? Absolutely. It happens. It also happens in business. I would argue that in those cases where things don't go well, where poor management and poor leadership causes a club to suffer, it is unfortunate. It is horrible for the supporters. But it doesn't change the fact that the merit of the work was treated accordingly in the results. So we can sit around and point fingers and blame, or we can find better leadership and get better. And what happens when a club gets better? What happens when a player who has not gotten chances but continues to work and find opportunities, desperate to make it? What happens with those players, with those coaches, with those scouts, with those clubs who have not had the success that they dream of? They search out and seek out opportunity that only comes through interconnectivity. Connection is what has made the sport what it is today. It's access based on performance, based on the work that you do on and off the field as a player, as a coach, as a scout, as a club. It is access based on your work. We could all sit around and point fingers and say, well, this club brought in a wealthy billionaire, and therefore, they've kind of bought their way up. Well, you know what? I would look at it and say, well, then you need to go find a way to overcome that, either through funding or more creative scouting or development of your own players. finding those hidden gems that no one else has been able to uncover, but are there because we read their stories time and time again. Interconnectivity provides incentives for clubs of all sizes, all shapes, all forms, and all places to do the work of being a great club. You are rewarded for that work. You are able to dream and find your level based on your ability, your leadership, your quality, and your excellence. American soccer will never reach its potential as long as we have artificial barriers in place that create separations, boundaries, limits. And those limits go beyond just the ability to play in Major League Soccer. It goes beyond the ability to play in the USL Championship. It goes into stratifying all aspects of American soccer. When people get up and speak about player development in America and they talk about we're not producing good enough players or our leagues need to do better to get more eyeballs, it goes beyond just those efforts in a silo. When you don't take into account everything else that is required, you will never understand the totality of the answer and the solution. It's found in interconnectivity. We need coverage. We need kids to be able to play and always be playing in front of scouts. That needs to be secondhand nature, nothing that they are ever concerned about on a trip to Europe because they see this all of the time. We cannot have that as long as we have separation and silos in American soccer. We cannot reach for excellence when we ignore giant parts of the country just because their programs or their franchise or their club is not part of the inner circle. The Federation should have a posture and a mindset of opportunity and access for all, creating a network of interconnectivity up and down the levels of connected leagues and all across the country, state by state and city by city. It is necessary for the essence of the sport, for the growth of the sport, to be able to reach our potential in American soccer. We will have to get to a place where we understand the ramifications of not being connected. Players have to move. Coaches have to move. We have scouts that don't exist because there is no system that not only rewards their work, but can even support their work. We have franchises and outlets in Major League Soccer who are overwhelmed because they only have so many spots, and yet there are more players than they can handle. That's not proof that we need more Major League Soccer outlets. It's proof that we need to be connected so that everyone has a reason and an incentive to grow the sport. We need to realize our potential by not looking to create boundaries, not